Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, April the 17th. I want to remind you we have in-person services tomorrow at 9 o'clock in Verdon, 10:30 in Girard. Also online services tomorrow morning at 10:30. So I hope to see you one place or the other. I pray you're safe and well and blessed this morning. I want to share with you from the Gospel according to St. John. This is chapter 21, and beginning with verse 1. I'm going to read through verse 19. I love this story. The lectionary, which I normally preach from, does not use it this year, in this particular year, so I wanted to share this with you today. Afterward, Jesus appeared again to his disciples by the Sea of Tiberias. It happened this way. Simon Peter, Thomas called Didymus, Nathanael from Cana in Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, and two other disciples were together. "I'm going out to fish," Simon Peter told them, and they said, "We'll go with you." So when they went out and got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. Early in the morning, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples did not recognize that it was Jesus. He called to them, "Friends, have you any fish?" "No," they answered. He said, "Throw your net on the other or on the right side of the boat and you'll find something." When they did, they were unable to haul the net in because of the large number of fish. Then the disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, "It's the Lord." As soon as Simon Peter heard him say, "It's the Lord," he wrapped his outer garment around him, for he had taken it off, and jumped into the water. The other disciples followed in the boat, towing the net full of fish, for they were not far from shore, about 100 yards. When they landed, they saw a fire burning coals there with fish on it and some bread. Jesus said to them, "Bring some of the fish you just caught." Simon Peter climbed aboard and dragged the net ashore. It was full of large fish, 153. But even with so many, the net was not torn. Jesus said to them, "Come and have breakfast." None of the disciples dared ask, "Who are you?" They knew it was the Lord. Jesus came and took bread and gave it to them and did the same with the fish. And this was now the third time Jesus appeared to his disciples after he was raised from the dead. When they'd finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you truly love me more than these?" "Yes, Lord," he said, "you know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." Again, Jesus said, "Simon, son of John, do you truly love me?" He answered, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus said, "Take care of my sheep." The third time he said to him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the third time, "Do you love me?" He said, "Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my sheep. I tell you the truth. When you were younger, you dressed yourself and went where you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Peter and his brother Andrew were among the first to be called. But Peter was a brash and impulsive fellow. He had a quick mouth. He spoke without thinking a lot. One of the things Peter gets remembered for, happened right after Jesus was arrested. Peter followed him right up to the courtyard of the high priest, and while Caiaphas was questioning Jesus, some of the people there in the courtyard began to question Peter. And three times, Peter denied knowing Jesus. He denied any kind of association with him whatsoever. Peter denied Christ by saying, "I don't have any idea who that man is." After Jesus' crucifixion and And even after his resurrection, the disciples were sitting around. And finally, it was Peter that said, I'm going fishing. And they just kind of went back to what they knew. So they're out there fishing. They fished. They hadn't caught anything, which was kind of normal for the disciples. And Jesus says, throw your net on the right side of the boat. The fact of the matter, Jesus had fish in the pot already. But he said, bring some of yours. Because they caught more than they could handle. Bring some of yours. He said, let's eat. And this, I love this story because of the last part that I read to you, which is the reinstatement of Peter. Jesus forgave Peter. Jesus reinstated Peter. And he led him through an experience that would remove the cloud of sin and his denial. Peter had disowned Jesus 3 times, and 3 times Jesus asked Peter if he loved him. And when Peter answered yes, Jesus would tell him, feed my sheep. It's one thing to say that we love Jesus, but the real test is our willingness to actually serve him. Peter had repented, and here Jesus was asking him to recommit his life. And Peter's life changed when he finally realized who Jesus was. His occupation changed from fisherman to evangelist. His identity changed from impetuous to rock. And his relationship to Jesus changed. Peter knew he was forgiven. And he finally understood the significance of Jesus' words about his death and resurrection. You see, out of forgiveness should rise commitment. Commitment to forgive others. Commitment to share Jesus. Commitment to be all you can be for Jesus. So here's a question for you this morning. How committed are you to Christ? I had a little more to go, but I think I'm going to stop right there this morning and let you ponder that question this morning. How committed are you to Christ? You see, love requires a commitment. Jesus required it of Peter, and he requires it of you and I. How committed are you to Jesus? Pastor Mark. I love you guys. Be safe, be well, be blessed. Go do something for Jesus, and I'll see you in church tomorrow.